the Vince Everett Ellison Show. I want you to see the Q&A from these beautiful children at YAF. You're going to be amazed at what you see. America is going to be great in the future, and you're going to see it today on the Vince Everett Ellison Show. All right, let's get this thing started. July, I think it was the 9th, last Wednesday, I was honored to do a speech for the Young Americans Foundation in Washington, D.C., YAF. YAF is an organization that was started decades ago. Their main goal is to counter the liberal left's indoctrination of our young people in high schools and college campuses. They have chapters in almost every college campus here in America. They have chapters in high schools. A lot of the students that come to these conferences are homeschooled, private schools, and some are even in public schools. They have YAF chapters there. These children have Judeo-Christian values. Their parents pay to send them, and some come on scholarships. Some have come to many of these conferences, and to some, this was their first. But this was at the Mayflower Hotel in Washington, D.C., a grand hotel. So they're not doing this thing at the Red Roof Inn. And these children are learning to be Americans. They're learning what true freedom is. They're learning what true citizenship is. They're learning that you're not growing up in America to get on welfare and to get on food stamps and sit on the porch and drink 40s and have 5 or 6 different children by 5 or 6 different men. You're not living in America to end up on heroin and cocaine, going to prison. You're growing up in America to understand what true freedom is and what your responsibilities, citizenship is, and what your duties to God are. And so they have elected me and many others to speak in front of these children. And I'm always honored that YAF trusts me to do it. They never tell me what to say, ever. They will send me an invitation, pay me an honorarium, and say, Vince, we would like to invite you to speak in front of these children or go to this college campus or that college campus. I'll do about maybe close to 10 speeches a year. And it is always, always so awesome. I've gone to the University of Alabama, Iowa State University, University of Chicago, University of Iowa, University of Utah, Fresno State, Buffalo. Oh my goodness, I've been all over the place speaking for YAF. And I usually go to college campuses, and the people there are very, very hostile. You can go on YouTube and you'll find some of the interactions I've had with some of these little liberal students and their professors, and how I just crucify them. Oh, it'd be like, it's easy, man, because they don't have any arguments. And it's fearful for me because I'd handle these people so easily, and I've had to go, well, YAF has had to go to court after they banned me. I was banned at Fresno, I was banned at Iowa, I was banned at Westminster College. Yeah, these jokers banned me. And YAF is such a strong organization, they ready for it. They got lawyers. I've had to go on college campuses, y'all, 15, 20 police escort. Because they think somebody's going to try to jump on me. I wish they would. I went to Iowa, and they out there protesting, raising all kind of hell, you know. And I went out there and I told them, police is everywhere. I said, hey, man, y'all need to be careful because the police ain't here to protect me from you. They're here to protect you from me. Think I'm scared of one of you little punks rolling up here on me? Come up here if you want to. And me and the police officers always get along because they know I'm a former correctional officer and they're police officers. So the police are fine. They're awesome people. The security people are always fine. But these little lefticals, man, They all in their feelings. They all stupid acting with green and red hair. And then they all want to be seen. They all want to be heard, you know. So YAF hires me to go and do battle on our behalf, to present our ideas to these children. And the coolest thing about them is that I just don't come there and speak. At the end, I give about a 30-minute Q&A. So if any of them got questions, any of them say, you know, I agree with you, Vince, or you don't know what you're talking about, Vince, we can have a powwow. So I'll have the Q&A queued up after the speech. And without further ado, sit back and enjoy it. I'm taking questions, Q&A. Taking questions out of anyone that want to ask one.
All right, if anybody has any questions, please come up. Yeah, you can line up right back behind me here.
Hi, my name is Lillian. I'm from Fairfax, Virginia. I just graduated from Robinson Secondary School.
Hi.
My question is, I really admired what you were talking about your dad and how much he impacted you. So what would you say is something that you're most proud of your dad for doing, and what is something that you think he's proud of you for doing?
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you so much. You know, I'm proud of my dad for taking care of his family, for doing the things that a father's supposed to do. Provide, love, protect. These are the things that we forget. And as fathers, we have to bring them back. We have to understand that we're living in a difficult time in America as fathers. We are. 80% of divorces now are filed by women. And many times fathers are separated from their children. That does not give the father a right to not have a life with his children and not provide for his children and not see his children, not pray with his children. And so we have to reinforce that, because that's what my dad did with me. He's 83 years old now. We talk incessantly. Was he perfect? Of course not. But he instilled in me a love for God, a love for my family, a love for my country. And he never, ever said anything racist to me whatsoever. It was interesting. That's why the whole Doyle Ellington thing was interesting. He never mentioned it. He always just basically said there are good and bad people. Bring good people to you, push bad people away. He always said collect good people. And it had nothing to do with race. It had nothing to do with anything except the person. As I said before, y'all, you're going to be judged by the content of your character. It is inescapable. No one has to say it to you. It's just how it's going to be. These people that come up to you and say that they cannot make it on account of race, they've been brainwashed into a lie, because there are people here in America that benefit from that lie, people in power. And they tell these people that you can only make it if you elect me. America hates you. America's racist towards you. You can walk up to a lot of people in America that believe this idea, white and black, and you can tell them, I am not superior to you. And they'll say, yes, you are. What can you do with that? When the person has convinced themselves that you're superior to them. When I hear white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, I'm saying white supremacy is a lie. It doesn't exist. It's like saying I believe in unicorns. It doesn't exist. If you believe it, but you believe a lie. Black superiority doesn't exist. It is, and they've convinced people of a lie. And the only thing that we can do is confront the lie. And I confront it by saying, if you believe that you are inferior to white people, guess what, player? You are. Why? You've said it. Men that believe they're free and men that believe they're slaves are both correct. Men that believe they're equal and men that believe one's superior or inferior to the other, both correct. My father taught me to love everyone, treat everyone nicely, respect everyone. But that doesn't give you the right to put your hands on me. And then he also said that if somebody ever tries to do that to you, you got two things that'll get them off of you. It's Jesus and you're 38. So that's what my dad taught me, dear. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Hi, so I just wanted to thank you first for your impassioned speech. It was really inspiring. Based on what you said, I think we can both agree that America is a country that is based on Judeo-Christian values. So how would you suggest that we as students go along and try to reintroduce that idea into not only public discourse, but especially public school discourse? Because from experience, I know that being in public school, it's a very touchy subject, and in history class, it's treated as this kind of thing where it's like, we don't really talk about that. Like, yeah, the founding fathers are kind of Christian, but like, that's like, whatever, it doesn't really matter. So how would you suggest that we kind of reintroduce that idea?
You know, I always ask the person the question first, are you a Christian? And when they say, yes, I am, there we can start the conversation. And I get kind of brutal, you know, with grown men. I don't really take it easy on them at all because I tell them, you innately know what is right, but you're too much of a coward to do it. There is no flaw in the four Gospels. Love one another, forbearance, forgive one another. When people try to slide out of that, you know, they're playing a game. So when you come with the idea of abortion, for instance, you ask them, is abortion, you think abortion is loving one another, forgiving one another, you think it's right to murder a child? And when they say, yes, they think it's okay to murder a child, you say, okay, brother, I have nothing more to say to you. You're an apostate, you're a liar, bye. One thing I learned from Jesus Christ, he never chased anybody down. He would start a conversation with them, and people that wanted the truth gravitated to him. People that didn't want the truth, they ran away. And he'd say, peace out, like the rich young ruler. You start the conversation, and I promise you, the people that want the truth will come to you and they will listen. The people that do not want the truth and the people that want to have comfort in their sins are going to find 1,000 arguments to try to make you look like you're the bad guy. I don't argue with anyone. I ask him if he's a Christian. If he is a true one, we can start a conversation, and when the truth starts hitting that person, they will start responding to the truth. Jesus Christ said, my sheep hear my voice. You're not going to have to call them all the time. The ones that want to learn, the ones that want the truth will gravitate to the truth. The ones that do not want it they will retract from it and they will run from it. And when they decide to run from it, let them go. What did he say? Shake the dust off your feet and think about them no more. And if they ever want to have a conversation with you about it and learn the truth, tell them, give me a call anytime. But short of that, don't waste your time. Waste your time with an apostate and with a person that's out there intentionally doing harm. When they feel the kick of life coming down on them, they'll remember you, and they just might come back. So that's how I deal with it, dear, and I suggest that's how you deal with it too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, sir. My name is Alicia Madrid. Thank you so much for your talk.
My pleasure.
You talked for a while about the immigration problem in America, and I was just curious how you think whether we get a Republican or a Democrat president next term will affect how Trump's policies will kind of remain. If getting a new president will just completely like reverse it, it'll go back, or if you think they'll stay or not.
I think it's going to be difficult for them to go back. I think America, I think that the other side understands that they lost the election behind this one issue. They kind of asked the American people, are you going to believe us or your lying eyes? You know, they said that the border was secure and you saw hundreds of thousands of people coming over it. They're going to have to, and again, this is going to be interesting because the reason why they can't get any type of laws passed on it is because the other side, the left, always wants citizenship, and they want the people to be forgiven for coming over here, you know, illegally, and the right says no, we're not going to do that. We want immigration reform, but they say we want amnesty, and we want citizenship. On the left, and the right says no. So the president has said, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut down the border, and I'm going to run the ones that are in here illegal out. And if they want to come back, they can come back legally. And it's going to be hard for the other side to turn back on that because they saw that they got a shellacking in the last election for it. So if they try to do it, we're going to see how the midterms come. But if they're going to try to, they're going to try to say that the president is heavy-handed when it comes to illegal immigration, this and that and the other. But there are polls that says American people want the majority of the American people says we want them all deported. And it's a very simple concept. If you're here illegally, we want you to be here legally. Go back, come back through legally, everybody's happy. Short of that, the president's saying, if we catch you here illegally, we're gonna get ICE to get you, lock you up, we're gonna send you to either Sudan, Alligator Alcatraz, Guantanamo Bay, or down to that prison down in El Salvador. And if you don't want that, the easiest thing for you to do is go back to Mexico, turn back around, walk back in legally, and let's start getting this thing done right. So I think that's how it's going to work out. I think he's going to make it so hot here for people that are here illegally that they're going to choose to go back home and come back to America illegally, which is what they should do. Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, at what point in your life would you say that your political journey started? Like, was there an act, or was there maybe something that your father did that inspired you to start pursuing everything in the political landscape?
Ooh, that is such a great question. Thank you, dear. I was working in a prison. I worked there 5 years. And in that prison, I saw so many young black men coming to jail. This was in the 90s, during the Clinton-Biden crime bill. Clinton and Biden passed a $40 billion crime bill. Me and Pat remember that. And it was during the crack cocaine epidemic. Oh, y'all are so young, y'all remember, it was terrible. It was terrible. And America got mad, and they said, we want these young men locked up. And they passed a $40 billion crime bill that will put 100,000 police officers on the street and build prisons all over America. The young black men you see going to jail now are the byproduct of that crime bill because their fathers, they locked up black men all over this country. When I started working in South Carolina, in the 80s, they had 3 prisons in South Carolina. By the end of the 90s, they had close to 40. And I was hired as an officer to work in one of those prisons. And I saw these young black men coming to jail in such astronomical numbers, and they were all about my age. And I thought that we had overcome. And of course we hadn't. And I started asking the black intelligentsia, why are all these young black men being locked up in the penitentiary? And of course they gave me the old refrain, evil, rich, white conservatives hate black people, just want to lock them up. So I said, oh, really? I'm gonna start a nonprofit, and instead of locking these young men up, I'm going to start a nonprofit to keep them from being locked up. Well, after I started my nonprofit and went to the ghettos, I saw something very interesting. There were no evil, rich, white Republicans anywhere. You see a unicorn before you saw one down in those ghettos. But I saw a lot of black people, a lot of black ministers and people like this, a lot of Democrats making a lot of money off of the chaos. And I wrote my first book about this. I called it The Iron Triangle. Most of them were most black preachers, most black politicians, and most black civil rights workers. And they were conduits between the black community and the Democratic Party, and their job was to make sure that the black community voted for these people by hook or by crook, no matter what. Sold to the polls, bottle looking a pork chop sandwich, it didn't matter. Get on there, ballot harvesting, it didn't matter. And it worked. And when I started looking at how all these young men were coming to prison under that tutelage, when I started looking at every inner city, whether it be Detroit, whether it be Memphis, Chicago, St. Louis, all of them had the same pattern. And I understood that this was a trap. And I started studying my history, saw that the same party that's doing this was the party of slavery from 1800 to 1860. The party of the Confederacy from 1860 to 1865. The party of Jim Crow. I said, this has never stopped. And so when I wrote my book, it became a bestseller, and Book Authority gave it it was number 61 of the greatest books ever written in the history of the world, Iron Triangle, because it blew the lid off of it. And it opened my eyes that this has been a diabolical scheme for a very long time, 200 years. And I figured it out, I blew the lid off of it, and now I've been raising the alarm ever since. And I'm so happy to be able to come to YAF, and happy that Pat and the rest of the people, and Bree and Madison, they invite me here to talk to you, to tell you about it. You are not the problem. They want you to believe that you are. You are not. The problem is not without, it is within. We've been sleeping with the enemy. And now the people are waking up. This last election showed that people are waking up to the lie. And when they wake up, they'll never go to sleep again. And they're finding out that the racists are not the conservatives in the United States of America. The racists are the liberals who have always used black people as cannon fodder to press their wicked, immoral agenda. We are waking them up, me, YAF, the whole country, and we're going to change it. Thank you, honey, for the question. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stella Menard. I'm also from Tennessee. And I was just wondering what you think is the biggest threat to America and our freedom. And as a high schooler, how can we push back and defend those threats?
The biggest threat is the liberal left. Nobody else in the world can touch us. It is within. Abraham Lincoln said that no nation can invade America. We have our oceans, we have our mountains, and we have our people with our guns. He said America will either live as free men or will die by suicide. The threat is always within. And the liberal left, the biggest threat they pose toward America is taking God out of everything. How do we know how to live our lives without guardrails? How do we know? And they are telling us now that everything's arbitrary. Everything's subjective. What is a man? Don't know. What is a woman? Had a Supreme Court justice that said, can you define a woman? She was like, You know, I can go to New York and say I'm a woman. They say, okay, Vince, you're a woman. It's ridiculous. Who can get married? They've taken the subjective standards of everything away. And we are now living in a place where, you know, this great philosopher said, what is hell? It's a place where everything is permitted. And when you look at where these people rule, you see the fruits of their labor. What did Jesus Christ say? A tree is known by the fruit it bears. Look at Detroit, look at Chicago, look at New York, look at Memphis, look at New Orleans, look at everywhere they rule. Chaos and mayhem, I wouldn't want to live there. None of you would. And do they try to stop it? No, they keep it going. A liberal heaven is an American hell, but they love it. They will burn this country down and they will dance on the ashes because they are connected to a liberal worldview that involves climate change, LGBTQ, atheism, abortion, and open borders. And they all work together worldwide to try to make this happen in every country. They're a clique. They meet. They're organized. We were late to the game. Now we figured it out. They used American money to press this LGBTQ agenda and the climate change agenda and the open borders agenda all over the world. They started telling African countries that unless you allow LGBTQ, you can't get any money to keep AIDS from spreading in your country anymore. They went to every country and they said, these are the stipulations for you getting aid from America. You gotta sign off on climate change. You gotta sign off on LGBTQ. You gotta sign off on open borders. And now the whole world is rebelling. Europe started rebelling. Then America rebelled. The biggest problem and the biggest threat to not just America, but to the world is the liberal left. And I'm happy to be with YAF because I know YAF recognizes it and see the liberal left as a mortal enemy. And this is a fight to the death. And I want to be the tip of the spear. So let's get down with it, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for coming. Well, I first want to say, you know, I want to ask, my family, we immigrated here from Italy, and my family, we love America, and it started when my grandparents came, and you know, back then there was more values and things were traditional, and I feel like now the left is trying to take away those values. You know, they're trying to say, you know, it's okay to have an abortion, like you said, at 9 months, and you know, they're saying it's okay for people to come in illegally when my family came here legally, and so I want to know how can me as a person, how can I defend those values and preserve the values that our country once had?
Man, the best thing you can do is talk about what you just talked about. How your grandparents came here, how you found the American dream. I mean, when I look at people like your grandparents, I'm amazed at the people that came over to America during that time, where they took their last dime and said, I'm leaving my country forever. And I'm coming to a strange country that I don't know the language, I don't know the people, and I'm gonna make it. I burned my ships. And then they come here and they make it. And I say, you know, I flew from Virginia to California last week, and it took me about 4 or 5 hours. And I said, man, don't complain. It took the settlers that had the wagons and the horses, it took them 4 or 5 months. And they had to fight Indians, they had to fight dysentery, and they came over. You have to look at these people, and I'm sorry to say this, but this works for me. I look at them with utter contempt. First, they stink in my nostrils, number one. And then I explain to them what you can accomplish in this nation if you stop being a crybaby and you stop being a coward. And I have no time for your cowardice. I'm not going to sit here and rock you and baby you. This is America. We build men here. We build strong women here. And if you don't want to join, you know, the 4th of July just passed, right? I did a podcast on why I hate Juneteenth, but I love the 4th of July. And I explained that on the 4th of July, we say our freedom came from God, but on Juneteenth, our freedom came from man. And that our freedom, and that, you know, they gave black people a second-class citizenship. They gave us a second-class holiday. You know, our freedom came from God, but your freedom came from man. And they said, well, black people weren't included in the 4th of July. I said, included? Man, you don't be included in the 4th of July. You volunteer for the 4th of July. You sign up for it. 4th of July, you exercise your freedom. George Washington said, you're a slave, join my army. You're free. Why? You're fighting for your freedom. If you don't want, stay on the plantation. And don't say nothing to me when this war's over with. And guess what? Some black men left and joined George Washington's army, and they were free men at the end. Others stayed on the plantation, and he said, now what are you complaining about? You chose to be a slave. Some white people were loyalists. Some black men joined the British Army. At the end of the American Revolution, what did George Washington say? Get these loyalists away. We don't want them amongst us. 100,000 had to leave America. They went to Canada, went down to the Caribbean, some went back to England. But they did not want them, black and white. The 4th of July, just like freedom, is something that you exercise. You say, you can choose. Do you believe in the 4th of July where your freedom comes from God, or are you going to celebrate Juneteenth where your freedom comes from man, which means man can take it from you whenever they choose. Your people chose freedom. And just like George Washington said, if you choose to be a slave, I don't want you among me. And don't you come complaining to me, because you chose your plight, just like I chose mine. I chose to be a free man. I chose to fight. I chose to exercise my freedom. And I'm not going to baby you. So you get back in the corner, sit on the front porch, drink a 40 while I go do great things. That's what you're telling my man. God bless you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, this next question is going to be our last one.
Hi, my name is William Kwan. Thank you so much. Wonderful talk. I really loved what you said about making a choice to protect freedom and then fighting for it, and also how this is a time of preparation. I was wondering if you have any books or particular recommendations for preparation to make an impact. I'm personally am very interested in government affairs, and I think I can make a real difference for conservatism through advocacy. I was just wondering if you have any books or particular recommendations.
I've written 4 books: The Iron Triangle, 25 Lies, Crime Inc., and The End of Tolerance. One of the books that really changed the way I saw government was John Locke's Second Treatise of Government. I'd heard about it, I'd never read it before, and I read it for fun. And when John Locke, you know, I'd heard about unalienable rights before. I said, hey, unalienable rights. And I knew they came from God, and I said, all right, it's cool. When John Locke said they were irrevocable, non-transferable, and unsellable, it's like my head said, poof. What? You can't give them away? You cannot sell them? You can't transfer them to anybody? They are yours. You have to do this. And if you don't do it, nobody will. Because see, we had been told a lot throughout the whole civil rights movement that somebody else had to sign off on our freedom, that we had to march for it, we had to ask for it, that if you don't recognize my freedom, I'm not free. That I have to get you to sign off on my freedom. I have to get you to sign off on my manhood. I have to get you to accept and admit that I'm a man. Or if not, I'm just not it. No. No. There's a master-slave relationship. The Hegelian dialect talks about it. When you walk up to a person, he says, you know, for you to understand that you're conscious, you have to see another person's conscious, another conscious person. That's cool. But he said then there's a struggle. There's a struggle between the two people. And one is going to become submissive and one's going to become dominant. And the one that becomes submissive becomes a slave, and the one that becomes dominant becomes the master. And they have convinced so many Americans to be submissive, to bow. When the founding fathers came with that dilemma, they decided to stand and understand their power, become self-aware, and say, I am not going to look at you and ask you to affirm me. If you affirm me, I appreciate that. If you don't affirm me, I don't care. If you think that I am not a man and you think that I am a slave and that I'm not free, I'm going to take Abraham Lincoln's advice, and I'm going to teach you that I am free. By using the sword and the bayonet, you will learn. And when you have that attitude, you know, well, he thinks he's superior. Well, a lot of guys got in the ring when Muhammad Ali thought they were superior and got knocked out. It doesn't matter what they think. It matters what you think. Don't ever let anyone make you feel inferior or small. Eleanor Roosevelt said, nobody can make you feel inferior without your permission, without your consent. And I do not consent. Don't you consent for any reason. You tell them who you are. My name is Vince Everett Ellison. I'm the son of Ivory T. Ellison. I'm an American. I'm a child of God, and I cannot be oppressed. I cannot be a victim, and if you try to make me one, I'll show you, and I'll teach you that I'm a free man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. God bless you all. Don't you guys have too much fun tonight. Love you. Now, wasn't that beautiful? Wasn't that great? I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I think the children walked away illuminated, better informed. I stayed there and I took pictures with almost all of them. I shook all of their hands, talked to some of their parents. Some of the children were even nice enough to give me handwritten letters afterward thanking me. It's always a pleasant experience. YAF is doing God's work, just like TPUSA is doing God's work. Blexit is doing God's work. We here on this podcast, all of us, because I know some of you started with me when we had 10 subscribers. We're over 80,000 now. Why? Because you share, you talk, you believe. Wherever I go, when I'm in airports or when I'm in restaurants, people will walk up to me and say, Vince, I watch your content. Thank you. It is all because of you. And you, me, YAF, TPUSA, Blexit, we're going to continue to wake them up. I hope I did you some good today. So join me again for another edition of the Vince Everett Ellison Show. All right, friends, Vince Everett Ellison is here. I want you to go to my website, and on my website, you're going to see a lot of great stuff, man. You're going to see that we got t-shirts, we got caps, you got my books, my documentaries, you got all kinds of stuff on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Go there. We're dropping new t-shirts, we're dropping new merchandise. My new book, The End of Tolerance, is there. The End of Tolerance. Make sure you get it, make it #1. If you got my first 3, get The End of Tolerance. It's just as good. And it's telling us we have to end our tolerance with these leftists, these Democrats. We can no longer allow them to sexually groom our children. We can no longer allow them to castrate little boys and call them little girls, run God out of the public square, take away our guns, take away our sovereignty. No longer allow it. So go on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. That is VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Hit merchandise. You'll see the t-shirts. You'll see the caps. You'll see the books. You'll see the documentaries. You'll see it all. And let's keep this ball rolling. God bless you.